Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we will take a look at some new IDontWorkHereLady stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
The first one is titled, "No ma'am, the train is not posing for pictures." This happened a few years ago, but I was reminded of it today while digging through some old pictures. A little bit of backstory: I've always been a fan of trains, probably due to my parents playing endless episodes of Thomas the Tank Engine when I was little. Luckily for my inner child, a fairly high-use CSX rail line runs through my town, and at one of the intersections is a small gravel parking lot for a local trail. On days where it's not blazing hot and I have nothing better to do, it's fun to park off in this lot and watch trains go by. I don't try to jump in front of them to grab pictures or hinder their work, just sit and observe. The day this happens was supposed to be a rather stormy evening, so I loaded my camera bag in the car and went to kill some time before the storms rolled in for my latest failed attempt at lightning photography. The setup of this crossing is two sets of track, gated crossing, and just past it heading away from where I'm parked is a siding that typically has a handful of unused cars in it. I'm sitting there reading a book when I hear the bells start ringing and a distant horn. Two engines come up the far track, and stop about halfway through the crossing. They back out and into the siding, up to a couple of the cars sitting there, then pull back out into the crossing. I grab my camera thinking, hey, might be fun to get these with the evening sun on them while they're here. With them stopped in the crossing, I snap a few pictures, and a few as they back into the siding again, trying to arrange the cars how they want them. Out of nowhere, this lady comes whipping into the lot, sending dust and gravel flying into the air and sliding to a stop in front of my car with her window down. Her, "What are you doing?" Me, "Taking pictures of a train." Her, "Make them stop, I have somewhere to be." Me, "I'm not in control of them, I'm just taking pictures." Her, "Stop wasting everyone's time and tell them to get out of the way." Me, "Ma'am, I don't work for the railroad, I'm just taking pictures." Her, "They're blocking everyone's way posing for your pictures." Me, "Ma'am, I don't think the train is posing for pictures. I think they're her, just stop it. Tell them to get out of the way now." At this point I just stopped trying to reason with her and started to go back to what I was doing, albeit much harder with her Karen mobile parked in front of me. She apparently took this as a personal challenge and threw her mum UV into reverse and pulled into the shot. Her, "You're not getting another picture until you make 'em stop." I started to say something, but got drowned out by the horn as the train came through the crossing one more time, loaded with whatever cars it needed, and off to whatever destination was next. I snapped a few more as it drove by. Incidentally, two engines and about 5 cars clear a crossing pretty fast even at low speed. Before Karen could get herself turned back around, the gates had let out and the flood of cars blocked her exit. She sat there slamming on her horn, attempting to pull out, and probably cursing up a storm for a solid 5 minutes. Finally she gunned it, slinging gravel, squealing tires and nearly taking the front off some dude's Miata. I'd love to say that this has a storybook ending of her pulled over and arrested, me getting money, and then getting amazing lightning shots that night. One of those endings that really makes you believe in humanity, instant karma, heart of the cards and all that. But alas, no cops to be found to give Mrs. Self-Important her comeuppance, and no lightning pictures to be had that night. The next one is titled, "I'm a wedding guest just like you." This is not an explosive story like others on here, but it still left me scratching my head. I traveled to a wedding last Wednesday. COVID restrictions were in place, but our state hasn't been greatly affected and limitations have been relaxed. The wedding was for my husband's distant relative and my husband was the only person I knew there. The ceremony was held on the beach and the reception was held in a pub just off the waterfront. The staff all wear full black. I was wearing a white lacy sleeved top and high-waisted blue pants with large creamy, browny flowers with a full face of makeup and cute high heels, nothing at all like the staff's uniform. After the ceremony, I walked through the reception area to go to the bathroom and another guest stopped me and snapped at me, "Where are the high chairs?" I was pretty shocked by how she spoke to me, so I mumbled back, "I don't know," and tried to keep walking. She stood in my way, stopping me from walking ahead and responded, "I've seen them here somewhere." "Where are they?" I responded again, "I don't know," and tried to walk around her, but she stepped in my way again. She must have figured she was speaking too fast, or maybe she thought I had some kind of disability, so slowed down her speech and said, "Where are the High chairs? Tapping her foot on each word for emphasis. Her attitude was getting to me, so I was starting to feel a little sassy. I slowed down my speech and said, I don't work here, so how am I to know? Something snapped in her brain and she actually looked at me. Her mouth gaped a couple of times like a fish struggling for air, and she said, well, I've seen them somewhere. Then turned and walked away. The next one is titled, I'm a grown woman and I don't go to this school, lady. So I'm a youth worker and I care for young people aged between 13 and 18 years old who are in out-of-home care for various reasons, but most of the time they have been removed from abusive parents. I have a specific client that I work with a lot who is verbally aggressive and has a lot of anxiety around school. This particular day was her third or fourth day at a new school and she asked me if I could walk her to her classroom because she was feeling anxious. This is something I do a lot for our clients to also make sure they're actually going to class. It has never been an issue. I had even been to this particular school many times with another client. So I'm walking her to class and she is walking really fast ahead of me with her head down when a teacher stops me. Now I am a 30-year-old woman and I was wearing jeans, a black shirt with Biggie Smalls' face on it and a pair of Vans, so I can understand that my outfit skews younger. But I find if I dress cool, I have better success building relationships with the clients as they see me as more of an older sister rather than dressing in my normal clothes and coming across maternal. So the teacher says in an incredibly loud, condescending voice, why aren't you in uniform? I tried to quietly say, I don't go to the school, so that the other students don't hear me, because obviously my client doesn't want it broadcast that she is in care and had a carer walking her to class. But the teacher isn't having any of it. She didn't listen to what I was saying at all. She starts lecturing me in the most horrible voice, literally wagging her finger and saying, this school has standards and you're making us look sloppy. I'm giving you an out of uniform slip and you'll be getting detention too. I'm really annoyed by this point, but also in shock because I'm 30, how the hell can she be mistaking me for a school kid? I have a forehead wrinkle and the beginnings of crow's feet. How is this possible? I very firmly say, there's no need to speak to me that way, I don't go to this school, and of course she doesn't let it go. She gets louder and says, if you don't go to this school you need to leave, we don't allow other school children on our property. My client, who has been standing there getting more and more agitated, decides to set her straight and at the top of her lungs screams, she doesn't go here, you F***king dopey CNT, she's my carer. The teacher turns bright red, every student is looking at us now. The teacher mumbles something about visitors needing to sign in. I told her I had and we kept walking. My client was so embarrassed, but her little outburst instantly made her popular with the other students because, as she told me later, that teacher is absolutely horrible to everyone. My client was spoken to by her teacher about appropriate language at the school but wasn't punished. So not exactly, I don't work here lady, but more of a, I don't go here lady. The next one is titled, I know I don't sound professional. I'm not a professional. I'm a housewife. A few years ago our house number was very close to a local bank. The only difference was that the last two digits were inverted. Ours was 45 and theirs is 54, so it was common for us to get wrong numbers for that branch. One lazy weekday morning I'd slept in a bit too late. Then I chilled out scrolling through FB in my robe and consumed one too many cups of coffee while I procrastinated the laundry. The phone rang and I answered it as people do. Me, hello? Old man, this is how you answer the phone? Hello? Me, usually. May I ask who's calling? Old man, this is XYZ. I'm returning a call from the Chase Bank and I think that you are very unprofessional and rude. Me, chuckling, I'm not a professional. I'm a housewife. Old man, I don't want to hear your excuses. I want to speak to your supervisor. Me, laughing harder, as I said, sir. I'm not a professional. I'm a housewife and you've got the wrong number. I think that we need to restart this conversation. Me, still laughing, once again. I believe that you've got the wrong number, sir. This is not a bank. This is a private residence. I am in my living room. I am a housewife and not a professional. And I hope you have a really fantastic day. Old man, I am so sorry. Voice drops. Actually sounds so sorry, thank you for your kindness and your courtesy. Me, not a problem, sir. Misunderstandings happen. Once again, I hope that you have a pleasant day. Old man, you too. And thank you. It really surprises me how hard it is for people to realize their error. Once they lock in, they can't let it go. The next one is titled, Crazy Woman. This takes place couple months ago. I went to Wally World Walmart for an hour with my friends. Our Walmart was only a 2-minute walk. After about 30 minutes, I parted from my friends and went looking around. Keep in mind, I'm also listening to music. I ended stumbling to the car parts section, then went to pass through the toy section. I saw that my Walmart started selling bendy plushes, and I wanted to get one for me. Kinda a bendy fan Abbott, I ended dropping some plushies on the ground, so I had to pick 'em up. I go back, and stand there for a good couple looking at the bendy plushes and figures they sold, listening to I think Ailstorm at the time. When, at that moment it happened. I get a almost sharp poke in the shoulder, and there's the behemoth. Let's call her M, entitled Mother, stereotypical Karen, hair, get up, purse, the whole mile and yonder. Just had a harsher Bayou Texan slang. I only stare for about a couple of seconds, saw her near irritated face, then went back at looking at the bendy stuff. M then proceeds to yank ever-lovin' poop out of my earbuds, they crash to the ground. I look up and this is the convo. Me, the duck is your problem, lady? M, excuse me, is that the language you use at people? And why are you listening to music and not helping your customers? Me, what do you mean? M, why are you not doing your job? I need your manager. Now. Me, ma'am, I don't duck and work here. M, yes you are. Don't you dare lie to me. She say, pointing her crusty hands at me, either you help me because my kids and husband are waiting for me, or I get your manager and have you fired. Me, for the second time, you simpleton. I don't work here. At this point, I said to myself, duck this, I'm a skedaddle. I unplug my earbuds, turn around and walk away to find my friends. M starts to yell at me and a few seconds later, I feel a firm grip on my arm and a violent pull. This witch is now dragging me away. Me, ow. Let me duck and go. M, I'm taking you to your manager. After we went out of the toy aisle, I throw myself forward and manage to make this woman lose balance and almost fall to her ass. But she doesn't. She then turns around and proceeds to scream at me. M-H-O-O-O-O-W dare you. You nearly make me fall, and that's assault. Me, don't you ever duck and touch me, you selfish witch. Leave me alone. She lounges at me to grab me again when all of a sudden, one of the employees jumps in. EMP, employee, stop, what is going on here? Before I got a word out, this employee had refused me and had assaulted me. I want him fired. Now. EMP, looks at me, then at ma'am, he doesn't work here. He is right, I was legit wearing a Metallica shirt and dark blue jeans and boots. Good indicators for people I don't work here. Yes he is. I saw him stocking the toys. Me, are you blind or plain stupid? And now he is being rude. Fire him. Now. EMP sad face, in radio, I need a manager and police here. Heard what he said, then started to smirk to me. The manager shows up first. He takes me, and tells M to stand with employee. He starts to question me. Manager, what has happened? Me, this woman had came to me and snatched my earbuds out of my head. They started to demand me to help her because she thought I worked here. And when I walked away, she grabs my arm and jerks it. I lift my short sleeve to show the marks when her nails dig in the skin. I jerked away and she loses her balance and almost fell. Manager, I see, I'll look into this. One county deputy steps in after about 5 minutes and starts talking statements. I gave him mine after M. He tells me that she accuses of being hostile and I had assaulted her and she wants to file charges on the evil employee. I showed the officer my arm and the officer looks at me more cross-eyed than a deer in headlights. Deputy, that is interesting. I'll look at the CCTV and we'll conclude the situation. The manager and officer went off to look at camera video and come back after 10 minutes. M looks nervous now. Russian, are we almost done here? I need to go. Deputy, says in condescending tone, where you going? You're under arrest for assault. Mother starts to flip her poop, yelling and screaming. She started to resist the officer and he called her back up. It took 2 officers and the manager to calm her enough to put handcuffs on her wrist. Afterwards, one deputy comes to me. "Deputy, are you wanting to press charges?" I told him no, I really don't want to get into that hassle. They take her away and I was given an apology and a $5 gift card for dealing with that. Serve her ass right. I ended going on the county booking site my county allows to show county jail inmates, and I saw her mugshot and charges. She got assault on a peace officer, and resistant arrest. Maybe this would have never happened if she pulled her head out of her ass. I kept this quiet for a bit till my friend introduced me to this website. Hope y'all like it. The next one is titled, A Tale of Revenge. I posted here a while back about a lady and her husband who wanted me to tow cars for them so they could park. I always love a part 2, so here we go. My ma and I went to our local name brand grocery store to pick up some things for dinner. We decided to split up to cover more ground in the massive store that lay in front of us. As I'm walking through the produce aisle for more misc items wearing the same clothes from last time, a green bottom-up tee and cargo shorts. It's my only get nice outfit at the time when I hear the sound to duck other sounds in the arse in terms of why me god? And BL will be witchy lady, M will be mum, SM will be store manager, me will be a man who still hasn't gotten my bathroom break yet. I turned to see the lady from last time, it was about a month at the time. But I couldn't remember where I knew her from. BL, I need you to get an item of the shelf for me. I can see where she's getting it here and thought she just wanted some help. So I go pull down her item for her. BL, now can you go find me some foam flinging fun bullets out of the back room, you're all out at that section. Me, I can't do that, I don't work here lady. BL, don't lie, you just help ME. Snap to it. Oh, now I remember where I met this witch. Me, squints my eyes at her to make sure I'm not mistaken. Nope, I'm right. Witchy, go tow some cars for my family, we've been here for hours, we pay so much here, so you should just go do it anyway because I can't hear you all the way up here on my high horse. Lady. I'll pass. BL, what? I'll have your job if you don't help me, you bastard. Props to retail workers for putting up with this, by the way. Me, I said no, tampon stuffer. She goes. Bat. Poop. Crazy. At this point I look up at the nearby CCTV camera with a poker face. Me, mouths, help me, into the camera. BL is just going ducking nuts, screaming, swearing, the works. I turn to walk away, back to my precious onions. She screams again and grabs me by the collar of my shirt. Bad move. She pulls me right up to her face, about 2 feet down, and just starts yelling at me to get. My manager, second bad move. Me, okay. I'll call her if you want. Do you REAAALLY want that? BL, right ducking now. I call my mum. Me, this lady in the sports section which you've probably heard screaming from your side. Wants my manager, that's you. M, wait really? Me, yep. M, I'll be right there. At this point the real manager comes over to see what all the ruckus is. God bless his soul, he accidentally locked eyes with a ferocious Karen. Done. SM, what's going on here? BL cuts in before I can even talk, saying that I cussed at her and refused to help her further, which was true, but also that I sexually harassed her. What SM, okay. So what about you? I explain that I did cuss at here because we have history. This confuses her. And that I did not harass her in any way. SM, I already knew that. Me and BL look puzzled. SM points to the live camera. I try not to laugh but fail. The SM heard my cry for help and I thought for sure this witch was done for. She just looked at it and said, BL, well? What is that? Silence. BL, and what do you mean we have history? Me, you told me to tow your cars, remember? BL looks like she curled up and died 20 years ago. My manager walks around the corner. M, Op, are you okay? I turn to walk towards her but BL cuts in. Literally. She grabs my arm with her fake nails and goes gold digging with them. I groan in pain as I rip her off me and rip a couple of her nails off at the same time. She acts like I threw her. Not very well. It looked like a tired hippo collapsing on a nice soft bed. SM cuts in and tells her what the semi-sphere on the roof is. SM, that right there is a camera. And it caught everything. I'll be calling the cops now. She gets up and tries to run my way, I tackle her. The cops show up, look at the footage. And I press charges for assault. I get my onions. Go home. And finally get my bathroom break. The next one is titled, She Came to My Workplace and Threw a Temper Tantrum After I Wouldn't Help Her Find Batteries at the Store. Here's some context for you. I work at a pizza place as a part-time employee. I'm what they call the dough roller. That job has me making the pizza dough for the entire day early in the morning, prepping the store, cleaning it up from last night, nothing special. Here's the kicker here, I'm always alone during these shifts, and I get there usually at around 6 or 7 am, and leave at around 1 or 2 pm. Not bad shifts, but man it's exhausting. So exhausting to the point where I would frequently nap after I got home, which I live about a half hour away from, and would get ready for the next shift. Occasionally, I'll get the random person that's up that early, and wander towards the store and ask if we're open. What pizza place opens at 6 am? Lol, here's another note to take in. The front of the store is mainly windows, with some booths in front, so people peer in to see if I'll come talk to them, or see what I'm doing. Sometimes I'll get someone in a bad mood and they yell at me and ask why we're not open. I mainly ignore them, except for this time. Let me rewind this story to the day before this event. I went to the store after work to pick up some random foodstuffs I needed for a dinner I was gonna make. Note, this was after work, so I'm still in my khaki pants, white pizza place shirt covered in flour, and my hat with the place's logo on the front. The place I went to doesn't have a uniform, but anyone with common sense would be able to tell that I am not a produce worker. Anyone except this lady who I'll call Karen. Karen I guess looks over at me looking and comparing limes and stomps on over. Hello. She basically yelled this. She didn't sound mad, but she sounded overly happy. Like pretending she's happy almost. I reply with, oh, hello? I'm thinking at this point that maybe it's one of my mum's friends that I don't remember that known me since I was little, so I just smiled and waited for her to continue. She was friendly, so I wasn't gonna be mean or anything, little did I know. Can you help me find batteries? I've been here before looking for some and haven't found any. I give her a nod and look down the aisle. I almost immediately saw the sign that said electronics, batteries, stuff like that. I point to that sign and say, they're down there, it's aisle 9. She grunts and stomps her foot, aren't you going to take me there? This is where I got a bit flustered, why would I do that? Her eyes widened and she screamed, excuse me? That's extremely unprofessional. At this point, I mentally sigh and think great, now my shopping is gonna take longer. She's looking at me like I had just taken her groceries for myself. How is it unprofessional? I helped you know where they are. What more do you want? This is where Karen decided to reach into her purse and grab her phone. She then started to record me. You see this, people? This idiot won't even help me. Is this what America has come to? I look around, confused as to what I even said wrong. Everyone was just staring at us, looking rather uncomfortable. I then look at her, look, say what you want, but I want to finish my shopping. I tried to walk away, but Karen used her cart to stop me. I was literally cornered at this point, trapped next to lemons and limes. No. You're not leaving until I speak to your manager. I will not take such disrespect from an idiot like you. I'm getting pissed off at this point. She's acting like I tried to assault her, and her words were getting higher in pitch, so I spoke up. Hey. Stop yelling at me. I'm just trying to get my poop and leave, so get your cart out of my way and go bother someone else. I pushed her cart out of the way, and she screamed. Assault. Assault. Did you see that? He hit me. I didn't bother saying anything else, and started heading out the store. She kept yelling after me saying stuff like, stop. You need to stop. I'm gonna call the police. When she said that, I turned around and said, shut up. I don't even work here, so I can tell it you if I want to. Stop following me. At this point, Karen gasps and stomps her foot. It looks like she wanted to say more, but I just kept walking. I paid for my stuff and got the hell out. The next day, which is today, I'm doing a normal 7 to 2 shift. Easy day, barely have anything to do other than cleaning, good day so far. Time flies when you have nothing to do for whatever reason, and it's almost time for me to take some tables and chairs for outside dining out to the front. It was about 9:30 a.m. at this point, so we weren't open yet still. Guess who I see, trying to see if we're open? It's good old Karen. She saw me taking the chairs out and immediately starts yelling at me again for the same reason as yesterday. You're the one that assaulted me yesterday. How dare you? I'll have your job for this. Come here and we'll speak to your manager right now. I sigh and take a moment before answering. No. She looked bewildered. Excuse me? I repeated myself. No. Go away. She stomped towards me. Come with me to the store and get your manager. You aren't getting away with this. I don't know why this lady just didn't understand what I said yesterday, but it annoyed me. Look, I don't work at the store, I work here, at the place I'm putting tables and chairs out for. I've never worked at that grocery store, and I will never work there. Leave me alone. It looked like at this point she got the hint, because she just stomped off. Okay, that was weird. I thought to myself. Got everything done at a decent time, and my manager came in at opening to help me with kitchen work until I got off shift. Guess who came back to complain? If you guessed Karen, you get a gold star lol. My manager greeted her as I was making food with the usual, "Hello, welcome to Pizza Place, how can I help you?" She started off with a bang straight on, "Your employee assaulted me on shift yesterday, and I want him fired." My manager looked back at me with confusion. Note that I was with him yesterday, doing a morning shift. Plus, there are cameras in this pizza place, and he checks them daily. He would have seen that assault and said something if there was one. He then looked back and said, "I see. Where did this happen?" Karen gets flustered. It was at the grocery store where he was stocking food up in the produce section. Why does it matter? Just fire him. He assaulted me. He looks back at me, to Karen, then back at me. You have two jobs or something? I just shake my head, and the manager looks over to her. Yeah, I can say for sure that he didn't do that. First of all, he doesn't work there, he works here, for me. Not only that, but he has never even attempted to talk back at anyone for any reason. I trust my employees enough to know that your accusations are false, and that you need to leave. Karen stomps both her feet, as if trying to break the floor, and yells, "How dare you? I can stay here and shop if I want to." My manager sighs and goes over to her across the counter. He ushers her to leave, and she is not having it. She's resisting as much as she can, still yelling at us saying that I assaulted her. We ended up putting her on a DNS list after all of this. DNs, do not serve. I don't even think she even got her batteries in the end. Oh well.